Hi, everybody! Happy
Hey!
Friday! It's a Dungeon Cooldown with me and Jeff
Ah,
Canada. Hi, Franz.
hi, Franz. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful to be back on the cool down.
That's right. It's been too long, Jeff. Do you
I've been
feel?
running hot this whole time. I
Oh,
need to cool
dude,
down.
gotta hydrate. You gotta cool down.
You gotta hydrate.
We're
Yes.
seeing all you amazing folks in chat. Thank you so much, Jim Whitted, David Genpro, Just Jules, Angel Devilson, Fail Waffle, Raven Queen's here. We saw your subs. Thank you so much, friends. We got a hype train already going. You the best. We love you, folks. Happy
Thank
Friday.
you.
We're so happy to be here. Happy to be here with you, Jeff,
Yes.
and all our friends before the weekend.
I am
Yeah.
delighted to be here. Yeah, I got a big weekend coming up. I got all my family in town. My daughter just turned 5, and so we got
That's right. So
my mom's here. My wife's mom is here. It's gonna be fun.
Great. 5.
Yeah.
I mean, any big surprises for 5th birthday besides family?
I think you're gonna love this. She got her big present. I mean, she got a little bicycle, which was cool. But her big present was we got her a tiny little puppet theater. It's like a little stand that has a curtain, and she got hand puppets, so she can do puppet theater, and because she's gotten really into these puppets. We went to Disneyland and we got this puppet.
Nice.
And she's been like all about the puppets, so we got her a puppet theater, and she loves it. It's so cute.
Does Jared have the sock puppet James Quillis? Because I feel like Zoe.
Oh yes.
I feel like
Oh,
Zoe
my
should
goodness.
have it.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Eldritch Blast!
Incredible.
Tiny Misfortune says, my 2 favorite Dungeoneers. That's very sweet of you.
That's nice.
Yes. Yeah. It's so
You
nice.
say that to all the Dungeoneers.
All the Dungeoneers who come through. We have so many questions to dive into after our amazing... I'll toot our own horn. It was an amazing reunion adventure. It was so much fun, and it was. Yeah, we had to pre-tape it because we can tell you this now. We shot them in the middle of the day on a Monday and a Tuesday, which there was definitely like some adjustment needed. Like we normally didn't do warm-ups back in the day, but if you're a patron, patreon.com/adungeonrun, you saw that like we released the warm-ups, most of the warm-ups. We released the warm-ups onto the Patreon for people to see because starting at 11 a.m. was weird.
Yeah, you get a little get the bugs out of your eyes and throat.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. It was in the middle of LA's torrential downpour.
That's the other thing. We had to do some fixing on the sound on day 2, specifically during the spoiler Hag sequence, because when it got very quiet because the rain was pounding and we had to do like some serious noise reduction on that part of the episode. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun to be back with the gang and being in person. I mean, it was one thing to be back for me,
right?
But another whole thing to be back and in person because it had been even longer since we'd all sat around a table with each other and been in the same physical location. It was so much fun.
I know it had been, as I think I said at the time, almost 3 years at that point, which is nuts.
Hard to imagine, but it's true.
Know. It was, but it was magical. It was so great to just be there across the table from you, and it was a different setup, obviously, and all this stuff. But it was, I was very proud of how quickly we all kind of fell back into it. And
I wanted to ask you about that actually. How was it? Did you? You hadn't played James Quillis in over a year?
Yeah, a little over a year.
So how was that falling back into the rhythm of the Heroes of Bingle?
It was a little... Falling into James was super easy. Except... But I'm lucky that we that we didn't have to get into combat or anything. That came later. Because I was like, oh yeah, I've got that spell. Oh my god, I'm playing a fighter in campaign 2 right now. So the fact that I had Thunderstep, even though I didn't end up using it, I was like, the number of fights in campaign 2 that I wished I had Thunderstep, just a spell to get you out of trouble and leave damage there at the same time. It's the best. Anyway, so the technical part of the character took me a moment, but James's voice, James's head, was all right there pretty quickly, I think. I
Yeah.
think it
It
was
felt that
similar
way to
for
me.
Ron as well. Yeah, it was.
There was like right when we started, it felt like there was this moment of almost like, oh, we're all back, and you guys started talking to each other, and then it was so quickly that it just fell into the same
right in there.
rhythms and patterns and fun, and it did not feel like we hadn't done it in a long time to me.
Seriously, I very much agree, and part of that's very much on you, because it was, I think, just having the hook of the Oya Tuscan sign and the like better than Bingle and all this stuff, and we're like, oh, and then
Well, I loved that. I had that better than Bingo thing planned, and I thought, oh, here's going to be a fun way to like get some investment right away
yes,
if
that was well
if
played.
Katie buys into it. And before I even said that, I was like,
You
Iron's
didn't even have
greatest.
to say the Bingle part. It was like
Yeah, it
best
was great. She was like,
vacation
what?
destination. We're like, excuse me.
I loved it. I loved it. I was like, oh, everybody's already tuned in. It was cool.
Yeah, no, it was really terrific. And yeah, actually, so we have so many questions,
All right.
and we will attempt to get to all of them.
Yes.
I have they're spread across a couple places. So you folks, wonderful folks there in chat, if you feel us not getting to anything that you're screaming and want us to answer, let us know. But I mean, some of my favorite ones, I'm gonna try to do them. We can't avoid spoilers, folks. So if you haven't finished watching them, we will get full spoilery. And to get full spoilery right away, Jafrikas, I think her question was just phrased in the form of all caps, 3 letters, hag.
Yes, Hag.
But that I was so impressed with you, Jeff. I love you, and I'm not just saying, but I was so impressed with how well you created this 2-shot and how many threads you were able to tie in, and I thought that was, and I was not expecting the hag. I mean, I wasn't expecting the salvage mander either, but I was like, oh, that's a great hook. That's immediately going to get us like, excuse me, who? What? We're going.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, literally what happened.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but the hag thing blew my mind, and was such a beautiful way to wrap it up.
Well, thanks. I'm pleased that folks felt that way. We had always talked about there being 3 hags, and that was one of the things when we wrapped up our run that was still dangling out there, and so it felt like a fun thing to and the hags had been, I think the pattern we had done with the 2 of them so far was that they weren't always in the best situations. We had one hag in Shantytown where things weren't so great, and one hag who had been captured in Boston. So I thought it was apropos to have the 3rd hag also, kind of being worked against her will, and then I thought how fun would it be to have, this sort of mentalist character using an actual, an actual seer as a crutch to pretend to be, a mentalist.
I wanna put a pin in the Great Mankini for a second, because I have questions about him.
Okay.
So many. I think everyone has so many questions about the Great Mankini. But I think so. To kind of peel back the curtain a little bit for the audience, we decided, we've been looking for this opportunity to do a reunion adventure. We wanted to figure out what was possible, what made sense. We wanted to do it around the table. Time, scheduling, all that was tricky. People have more people in our family have kids now, and all this stuff. So it was all very tricky.
Yeah.
And then there was a long discussion about what we wanted the adventure to be, and by the way, I'll just get this out of the way now. We absolutely want to do more of these, down the line. That we would all love to do more of these. It will probably have to be in similar everyone's like, bring back campaign 1 full time, guys. It's not going to happen. I love you. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, in a dream scenario that would be possible, but
right. Until I can get a Jeff Kanata hologram, it's probably
yeah.
who works as hard as Jeff worked when he DM'd.
Or portal technology would be useful.
Yeah, that would be great.
Teleportation.
Teleportation, yeah. Sure. But even then, I mean, yeah, for sure. We love you. Anyway, but it was a kind of we all kind of decided we wanted it to feel like a lighter adventure this time around. And I think that was something we all came together. It was like, you know, as the ending of episode 115 it's a pretty dark ending. And we were kind of like, how do we just pick that up? And I'm not saying we won't get to that at another time, the next time we do one of these, but I thought it was so well handled by you. And like we did play around with like, all right, well, maybe it is this what if adventure, but as long as it can feel sort of tied into the overall story and true to the story. And yeah, I thought you hit that balance just beautifully on the head.
Well, thank you. I really appreciated how we all approached it, where, it was very collaborative, and the whole gang was, we were talking about what we all were hoping out of the situation and what characters want to play. Jessica, for example, she, by the end of the main 115 episodes, she was very much not Fahima anymore. And you were turning into a demon, and Ugo was a paladin now. And I was like, well, what version of these characters does everybody want to play? That was important to me, that if we got together, everybody was really playing the character that they wanted to play, and I agreed that a lighter tone would, it had been so long, it just felt like coming back together and having some kind of
hard.
Yeah. Having some kind of like melancholy, reckoning of how the last episode went. Just felt, it didn't feel as celebratory as we wanted it to be. No. It really felt like I wanted to come back and laugh with my friends. And I loved that we got together and laughed together. That was so much of the joy of doing Dungeon Run was just being with you guys and laughing and having a good time. And yeah, we cried too, and we were serious, but
I blame you for that.
Anyway, yeah, I think people get it. It was just, it was, with any piece of art, any piece of dramatic art, I'm sure you'll agree, as somebody who's produced and created and done all and acted and participated in many of them, you want to have all of that, right? You want to be able to have layers, levels. You want to have ups and downs. You want to have moments of levity and moments of seriousness. And so, there was certainly we wanted to put that needle a little closer to levity this time.
Yeah.
But there was also some great, fun, serious stuff that happened in the
absolutely.
two-shot.
And that leads me back to the Hag. I thought it was my concern when we decided, I'll just be honest, it was my concern when we decided to go on a lighter thing. I was like, is it going to feel not true to where we know the story is going? And you use the Hag just so beautifully to ground it with that at the end. And and that's why I'm suddenly crying at the end, because I was just sort of like, oh man. Thank
you. I'm glad it worked. That was
beautiful.
I was very worried that it was going to feel like a big cheat. It was going to be like, hey, it's easy to have a character tell the future when we've already seen it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a clear. It was cryptic enough, and it was poetic enough that it was all, I don't know, none of it rang inauthentic or cheesy to me. I quite liked it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I thought it went very well, and I loved, it's because it's a hard thing where you're only doing 2 episodes here, and that's another reason why picking up where we left off, right where we left off, felt hard, because it's like we only have 2 episodes. It's only we're only going to give that short shrift also,
right?
And it's like, how do you end that reunion? And I really struggled with that and thought long and hard about how we ended. And I thought, sort of just tipping the hat to what happened and what has happened and how important that was to all of us. was the tone that I was hoping for. So,
Yeah. So then my question then wait, okay, for clarity. I think I asked this when we did it. Griselda, Esmeralda, and Zelda were the 3 hags.
That's right.
This was Zelda.
Correct.
Okay, good. All right, yes. I think there was some confusion.
So you've seen all 3.
We have now seen all 3 hags, though we now know where none of them are.
That is correct.
Esmeralda, we released 22 years ago, and Candle Queen knows where she is.
Right.
And Griselda, we last heard was in Shantytown, but then we heard Shantytown cleared out during the demon attacks, and we did not get the chance to chase after them and find out.
But we know you heard that she had anticipated that and left early.
That's right. Wait, because Grell, wow, it's all coming back to me right now. Because we saw Grell. Grell is now at Nightstone Academy.
Correct.
Wow. If you asked me this 5 minutes ago, I would have gone, no, I have no idea. But the name Grell just rushed right in. Grell is still at Nightstone and told us that Griselda got away. Okay.
That's right.
Wow. Amazing. So then my question is, because we passed Oya Tuscan at the time at middle of episode 104, right after our cart blew up in the most questionable force of good of all time. you laugh like that, Jeff.
I'll never live that one down.
It was I still find it hilariously funny. But at the time it's like, are you kidding? But was this there if we had decided to go to Oya at that time?
Yes. Okay. I will say
but
that
maybe not to the full extent.
Not to the full extent. Yeah.
You didn't have the time to fully flesh it out.
Correct.
Got it. But wow. Okay. So.
But that was the idea. Yeah.
Ooh, man. Yeah. I remember at the time because there was a lot going on and there was a fear also that James's condition seemed to be worsening to such an extent that we were like, and there had been such a get to the grave of Nonezeron. It would have felt weird at the time for us to go like, let's party.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But this was,
I think it was the right decision at the time, but right. I did, I had this concept in my head for a long time about the carnival and the fun. I didn't know it was going to be called the Soirée Fantastique, right? All those details get filled in when you know it, you have to build it.
Right.
But I had the general outline of what was going to happen in Oya. For a while. Yeah.
And Larry and Barry. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that was all freshly designed.
Barry Gumbledunk and Larry
Stumblebunk.
Thank you. I don't know if you saw this, but in the Twitch chat during the episodes, everyone was throwing out gnome names for like a solid hour.
I loved it so much.
Yeah, in that same vein of just Gary Fumbledunk.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. There's so many good things. I
love the idea. I wanted to play with the notion of, part of the fun of that was playing with this thing that all of us at the table have lived in our lives, the life of a performer and the sort of like living in I'd say brothel, not brothel, hostel.
Yes.
Living in a hostel. Not that we've all lived in a hostel, but just like that, like roughing it, those few years of just living for your art, and
yeah, right.
So I thought that was fun.
I agree. All right, I'm pulling up questions now. Okay.
All right.
All right, Red Robin asks, what a fantastic two-parter. Thank you for that great experience. Thanks, Red Robin. There must be more what-ifs from Season 1. Is there one in particular that you would like to explore?
Well, there were a number of other options that I gave you guys. When we were talking about doing the reunion, I sent an email saying, here's some ideas that I've had.
Right.
Some things that we never got to.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I do remember them now. Yes.
Yeah. So, and one of them is the cities of Sinzan and Vorth, which I had always had in my head, sort of a fun idea for those.
That would be beautiful. Sinzan always intrigued me. and obviously I think it intrigued the community as well, because I still on our Discord we have our fan art section, but then we have where the artists collect and talk and share ideas that they called, I think, the Collective of Sinzan or something, which is beautiful, and I love that.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, I was very intrigued by that when you mentioned that.
I can't remember what the other. I thought there was one or two others, but those definitely were cities. If you look on the map, the map that we sell in the store, there are, all of, I don't want to say all, maybe not all, but most of the areas that are specifically labeled on the map, I had vague or specific ideas for.
Amazing.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Fail Waffle asks a what if where they didn't kill Whitebeard. I was gonna joke a what if where you get to use all of Whitebeard's layer actions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different direction to go with the what if, we did the what if they had actually gone to this place, but if we get into the real like Marvel what ifs where literally we replay a moment we did see a different way, that could be very fun.
What if Seth survived?
What if Seth survived?
Let's go all the way back. The entire adventure is different if Seth survived.
That would be wild. It would be fun to see the community come up with their favorite of those kinds of what ifs.
We're the biggest. What did we called them?
Inflection points.
Inflection points. The biggest inflection points throughout, and how did the tree branch out from there? Yeah, boy, so many big decisions on that, right?
Be fun.
I mean,
fun to think about.
What if? Oh boy, no, I don't know. I mean, because I was thinking of Whitebeard, I was like, Uggo almost got us thrown off Mervis's ship in that episode that Uggo and James had such a big fight over. It's like, what if Mervis got too upset with us and just threw us off the ship? Oh, and of course, you're absolutely right, Fail Waffle. The biggest what if is Olsvach, which we did think about. We definitely did think about, but again, we were also like, we wanted to keep it lighter in tone, and Olsvach gets real dark real fast.
You're right. That is one of the other things in that first email talking about the reunion that I proposed is, hey, what if you guys returned to Olsvach and did mostly that was a little selfish because I was like, I have that all written. that one's basically done.
I have it written where you didn't completely botch eyes.
I know all the
some reason I didn't get to use it. I don't know why. Not gonna point fingers at the five of you.
That's funny.
You didn't rip it up.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I've got Rabbit Attack Goat asks, your ability to pluck out characters from the Heroes of Bingle's past for this two-shot was so very well done. Do you still have all your notes from campaign 1 with the ideas for the skipped adventure? Because that's a little bit what Red Robin asked.
Yeah,
but 100% goes into a little bit more of that.
That's what's good about Google Docs.
Thank God.
I learned very quickly, like, don't put it on actual paper. Put it in the cloud, and then you can always refer back to it. And it's searchable. It's searchable, which is delightful.
I mean, I love this actually, because I run a game for our patrons. It's a private game, patreon.com/adungeon. Jeff knows this, but I'm telling this for the audience, where the whole conceit of the story is that there were refugees from Ain after everyone had their minds wiped about 300 years ago. And that was just an extrapolation on like all the stuff that you had set up. And that's how I love doing that. I love going, like, looking at the landscape and like, look at this tiny little section over here, or carving out, wait a minute, everyone lost their memories 300 years ago. That had to be absolutely terrifying and angering, like incredibly angering for some to feel. If you get into like a whole class question of it, the Shahs and Gao basically, yes, they were doing it in their minds to save everybody, but they kind of unilaterally made that decision. At least it kind of felt like that. And that affected everybody. And so how do you just do that? And who responds to that? I love kind of letting my mind wander on some of that stuff, and it only helps when
Cool.
you've laid out such a rich landscape. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's so awesome that you're doing that, and it's so awesome that the community is the people that are exploring that.
We love it so
really
much. We love it so much. We're having so much fun. And I'll say this again. I'm so proud of our community. They're all great role players. The characters they've created. Some have thrown me some real curveballs. Fail Waffle, looking at you. No, I love your character. And so, but I'm encouraging them very much to kind of, bring what they're passionate about as far as an idea, and then we'll find a way to make it work. I don't even know if I told you this. Someone wanted to play a Thrycreen from Starjammer, which is basically a large insect. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna bring in aliens. Hang on. But then I went, wait a minute. Insect. Okay. We've established insectoid-like people with the Quake Warden. And so I was there's a settlement of the ant-like. Did we ever? I don't know if they had a name. It's been so long.
Oh, they did, but now I'm not going to remember it either.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But it was.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, and I was like, well, what if they are a descendant and a pocket of that community that ended up here as well? And I was like, but no one's ever seen you before. They were also very isolated like the others were. Yeah. And that's so much fun, though, and again speaks to the depth and level of everything that we're working with, which is really great. I love it.
Love it, too. That's cool.
Love it. But I think that answers Rabbit Attack Goat's question. Do you? Yes, yeah, you do still have all your notes, and we've gone into things that possible what ifs and other things. I'm getting a lot of requests for when are you going to come on as a player?
Well, again, we got to work on that teleportation technology.
I was to say, teleportation technology, scheduling is another thing. We've been over this a little bit before. Jeff is a little gun shy about playing D&D.
A little? Yeah, a lot.
All right, well, okay, I was being nice.
I'm very intimidated
You are very intimidated.
I am very intimidated by that. You guys set a very high bar. It's a different skill set than being a DM, and I'm fairly confident with my DM skills, but being a player is not something I've done super recently, and I don't know. It's a little scary to me. Yeah. Frankly.
I want Larry. I want you to play Larry as a bard clown. I want you to play Larry as a bard clown in a full adventure where we see just him go through everything. God, so scary.
A little Krusty the Clown, but
I'm glad I saw with chat. I'm glad that chat was with me where Larry was a little terrifying.
That's very funny because I did not anticipate that at all. I thought, oh, here's a funny, goofy character that's going to be. Everybody's going to be able to laugh at me. I did not anticipate he is a creepo.
Part of it was how well you just would drop in and out of it. And it was like you would do the, and I'm like, get it away. There were definite moments where I was like, it was so well embodied so quickly that I was like, it's a mask he puts on. It's terrifying. And I'm glad that at least a solid chunk of chat was with me on that Larry was oddly terrifying. Thank you, Seraphie. I appreciate you. But Larry was funny, and I did say I was telling people in the Discord I think that Larry entered your Hall of Fame of NPCs almost immediately. I was like, this guy's incredible.
Thank you. That's awesome to hear. I was hoping, I loved him being so pathetic and oblivious to it. There's something fun about that. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I think it's everyone's questions are very similar. Jim Witt had asked a similar question. What we already talked about was the hag always trapped there? Were there some fresh ideas once the reunion started to become possible? A little bit of both, I think is what we're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Definitely some fresh ideas. Yeah.
This was a possibility of an adventure that we just got to let you let you explore a lot more, which was great.
Yeah, absolutely. That was cool. And who knows if we would have been able to do it in as much depth if we had actually done it during the main campaign.
Right.
It was fun to be able to go, okay, I know we're gonna have 2 episodes here. This is cool. And I mean, from my perspective, the best part of the experience was the fact that you guys did your auditions for the circus. That to me was one of my favorite things we have ever done.
Agreed.
And I loved,
I think you said it within like 3 minutes. You're like, this is already my favorite episode.
Yeah. You guys, I mean, so I will reveal this, that I thought I had originally planned the cliffhanger to the first of the 2 episodes to be the reveal of the orc's tattoo. Yes. I thought that was going to be our cliffhanger, and oh my gosh, it's that orc! It was the orc that I'll go to. Sure, that's what I thought the cliffhanger was going to be. But we were kind of running long, and I realized we weren't going to get to that, and so I thought part of the meat of the first episode was going to be the auditions. And I was going to just introduce that and force you guys to do it right there. And in the moment, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. We can cliffhanger with them having to audition, and then they can go home and put some time into it and not have to come up with it on the fly. Yeah. And that is one of those like serendipitous, beautiful things that happens, because it was so awesome that you guys got to go home and think about things. You got to do that awesome, real magic trick. And everybody came back with such well-formed, distinct, interesting, cool moments. Yeah. That I just made that whole moment, that whole sequence sing, and I loved it. So it was a total by chance thing where I'm like in the moment going, oh cool, this will be our cliffhanger. And then it allowed you guys to really invest in that and not have to just, be put on the spot. Yeah.
No, agreed. I just had a mild panic attack when you said we might have had to do the auditions at the end of the first episode. Oh, no.
That was my original concept, was like, I was like, instead of a fight, the first episode's big set challenge piece will be, the challenge. Exactly. The challenge of the first episode will be that, but it worked out so much better, and that is one of the wonderful things about D&D and improvisational storytelling, is that these things that you never think of often become the best. It just happenstance transforms something into being so much better than you planned it to be.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, Katie's song was
Katie and Ron teaming up and doing a thing, and it was
so good.
And Jared's poem and that whole thing.
My God.
And Jessica's awesome, Houdini-esque escape. All of it. It was all so cool. And it was the other thing was also different. Like nobody did the same thing.
Yes,
it was
I know.
Awesome.
It was so great. I loved how Jared kept heightening Jessica stuff without telling her. None of that. That was all a spur of the moment. He's like, oh, he's like, I shoot the rope. Like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, not dangerous enough. That killed me. That was so funny. This is right. Someone else reminded me. I did promise to prove that it wasn't a fluke, that I could actually do that trick again. So hang on. Should I do the trick again?
Do the trick again if you're able to. If you're just able to like pull that. Now you have a thing you can do at parties anytime you want.
It's absolutely true. I've learned how to do this.
That's awesome.
I've learned how to do this trick. I learned it that night. Because I was like, what is a math trick? And I liked this one too because it's more interactive and it's easy. Whereas all the other ones I was looking for were like, then divide it by 6, then add 2, then blah blah blah. Yeah. And it was just sort of like, no, that's too much. All right, so I'm gonna do the math trick. So somebody give me 4 numbers, 4 single digit.
Do it from the chat. Do it from the chat.
Yeah, chat. Everybody give me a number between 1 and 9. 5, 4, 8. 5, 4, 8, 9 is the first number. Okay, great. 5. No, you probably can't read it. 5, 4, 8, 9. You're keeping it. Okay, great.
Do I need to write this down to help you?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I have the number from the future. Jeff, I'm gonna text it to you as.
Oh,
proof.
I love this. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna text you this number. So. Nope. There it is. Okay, there is the number from the future.
All right, I'm excited.
Okay.
I have the number.
All right, now I need... Wait, remember how to do this. Yes, okay, now I need 4 more numbers. Actually, I'll keep going down the list. All right. 7494. All right, and so I get to add more numbers now. I'm adding 5, 0, 5, and 2. Okay, now I need 4 more numbers. 8675309, Changebox says. Very good. 6, 3, 5 from Tiny Misfortunes, and Raven Queen says 1. I'm going to add 8, 4, 6, and 3. Okay. Hopefully this works. I haven't done it since we did it for the show. All right, great. So these are our numbers. I'm going to put them into chat, and somebody add them up for me. All right. 5489 plus 7494 plus 2505 plus 6351 plus 3, 6, 4, and 8. Somebody add up those numbers for me. Hopefully this works. I think it'll work. Who has an abacus?
I should have done it.
No, I'm not going to.
I have the number from the future. So
I can't add them up in my head. Jeff, what does that number say in chat from Ouroboros?
I'm not looking at chat, but I can tell you the number from the future.
What's the number from the future?
25487.
25487. There it is, Ouroboros.
The great Morgan Keeney.
I did it.
It's amazing.
It's not a fluke. I did it. Sorry for all of the awkward adding time. It works.
Incredible.
Yes, thank you. Math demon.
Math demon.
Math demon. Yeah, okay. The Great Mankini. That brings me back to the Great Mankini. So I realized in rewatching the episode, even though we were laughing about the Great Mankini and like he seemed so terrible at it, when I went back and so he was trying to go the letters of a name with a G or maybe a P, and I was like, is he talking about Grammy and Prim?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. He was legit.
He did know it.
Yeah. Well, he was. I mean, I don't know if this was clear, but he was. I was prepared if Katie was going to ask me for a perception check or an insight check or something.
Right.
I was prepared to reveal that he was looking down through the floorboards.
Oh.
And getting relayed information. Like he was literally like his whole bit.
Because you did roll. You did a roll real quick, and I was like, "What was that roll?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the roll was stealth?
Yes.
Or, okay, got it.
Yes.
Interesting.
And his whole sham is that they've got an actual hag down there who can see the future, and is forced to kind of like he's just stealing the credit basically. Right. But yeah,
but
so
he
I don't know
did.
how clear
but
that
it was when you went back and you were like, he did know things. Like the music thing was dead on. Like and I was like, and when knowing later that he had the connection to the hag, I went back and I was like, G and P. I was like, is he talking about Prim and Grammy?
Yeah.
And
I was trying to get her, you know, I was trying to do the mentalist thing where they fish for correct answers, but the idea is he's
someone
actually
has died in your life at some point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's a fraud, but he's a fraud like fueled by good answers. And then the idea was that at a certain point, the hag communicates to him the actual future that you guys have, and it freaks him the heck out, you know?
Yeah.
And then he's like, what do I even do right now? And then he, you know, he scrambles and then he's on his own. And he's like, you're a woman?
A woman! Yes. Yeah.
Which, you know.
I'm proud of myself for having caught that, because I was like, I think, especially once we found out, that he did there was something legit about his act, that I was like, P and G does mean something to Lily if you go looking for it. Yes, yeah, amazing. I love that. Yeah. So I think there were a lot of questions about our poor orc sellsword, which, by the way, I love. Those of you know who I'm talking to in the community. When James suggested that we turn him into the Shazangao authorities to send into prison, they're like, "How dare you?" And I'm like, "The man is enslaving people."
Yeah, not a good dude. Not a good dude.
And Sim was about to kill him. What are we going with here?
I mean, my assumption was always that if the heroes of Bingle hadn't inhabited those 5 sellswords, they were pretty terrible people.
Yes,
like they were there to
kill
help.
Whoever Whitebeard wanted them to kill.
Yes,
absolutely.
They were not good humans.
No,
or not even some of them weren't even humans.
Yes, good.
They were not good folks.
Yeah.
And then, you know, having part of their lives unaccountable and showing up with tattoos and their, you know, their most valuable worldly possession having been sold off.
Right.
Sorry
about that apparatus.
They would just get even worse as people. And then, you know, I think the implied backstory is that, you know, sailing the high seas, somehow comes across the salvage mander, somehow comes across the hag, and you kind of I don't know, tortures or mistreats the hag such that she's willing to give him some information, like living his whole life going, what the hell happened to me? Who are these awful people? And finding the hag and the hag saying, well, you know, one day you will meet them in these circumstances. And he's just like biding his time, waiting till you guys show up at the circus, you know?
He started a circus just to meet us. No.
It was one of those like self-fulfilling prophecies, but he takes over. He comes and takes over and enslaves the salvage manager just as bait to get you there.
I loved living in our own little secret room because we pre-taped it for a little while and watching the audience conjecture about who must have been at the middle of the circus, because the guesses were wild and hilarious, very funny. But knowing the whole time, I didn't see a single person. Well, no, there was somebody at some point, of course, who went, "It's the sellswords."
Oh, really? I didn't see that. That's cool.
I'm pretty sure somebody did say there was at least, but a lot of people are like, "It's Jorl."
I saw that.
It's Mervis. It's, you know, it's like, but also I think in story terms, the Jorl wouldn't have made any sense because we'd literally just left Jorl like 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Right.
And so it was like, and he started a whole circus in like a week.
I don't think Jorl would have had the, you know, if Jorl attempts to start a circus, things don't go well for that circus. You know what I'm saying?
No, we know enough about Jorl. Though it made sense that he hates magic. That could have been Jorl.
That's true. That's true.
Cheesemonger. That's right. Some people were guessing Cheesemonger. I mean, Cheesemonger was still heavily employed by the Ashen Mage at that point in the story, though. Yeah. Mervis would have made sense. I don't know if he would have had the time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, and Mervis is off living his best life now. His dad's dead. He's done, you know. He's
I love that's the first thing you list is living his best life.
He's been living in the shadow of that awful, situation his whole life, and
That's absolutely true.
He finally actualized, and he went off and I don't know. I don't think of Mervis as being in a bad situation now, personally.
No, that's agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed for sure. Yes. Aegis 13 asked about who was the hag at the end. We already answered that. The hag was Zelda, the third sister. Griselda was the one. All of the
first one, yeah.
All of the voices of the hags were kind of similar, and I think that was on purpose by you.
Correct.
But yes, yeah.
I guess they weren't very distinct, but they're supposed to be all of a kind.
Yeah, for sure. And that's who knows what else they're up to. I mean, we left Esmeralda we freed her as ugly as that situation was. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Heroes of Bingle, how is the blind guy and the kids from Frofi Marakume?
Oh, that was another option that you guys had, was like go back and check in on the the halfway house for former Heroes of Bingle associates,
current werewolves and former thieves of Olsbach.
yeah.
Frofi has started the strangest halfway house. That would be sweet. I think I've seen people talk about it too. It's like, I want to watch the buddy comedy of the story of Frofi and Zanelka running a bed and breakfast.
It's just awful sounds that coming from the bed.
And that sounds exhausting for you.
yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good. I think that's all the questions that I have. There's David Genpro once again asking us. David Genpro, if you don't know this, because people should ask him about it on the Discord. He ran an entire Heroes of Bingle and Ein themed campaign, which just looks incredible. And David and I got to meet in Montreal last year at a film festival. But yes,
I saw pictures of some of the folks in that campaign and doing that campaign, and just amazing.
Oh, there you are. You're in chat. David. Yes. Yeah. And yes, are there any plans for a reunion that continues the Heroes of Bingle story? We would love to do more reunions. It's we'll have to be. I think we all want to just be kind of be tough to. We don't want to rush into it either, because for all the reasons we spoke about here at the early
some idiot moved to Denver is the problem.
Oh please. I mean, you're not alone in that. Things are tough. Things are tough out here. Things are tough everywhere. People are asking us. Also, I saw questions about. I mean, I feel like we talk about it, but what else you've been up to? I know fan-controlled football has gone very well. Got nominated for Emmys. You're now kind of Emmy nominated.
2 Emmy nominations this year. Incredible. Yeah, I will always introduce myself as the Emmy nominated Jeff Cannata from now on.
That's right, as you should.
Even though it's not me specifically.
It's the show, but still.
But you know what? I'm still going to claim it because
you're part of that show. They have to give you like a leg of the Emmy,
I think that's the part where you each get a body part. I got a kneecap or something.
That's right. Perfect.
Something that folks may be very interested here is that I just DM'd a one-shot that was recorded live. We did it in Bristol, England, in a castle.
Amazing.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about yet, but it is. I was hired by a company to do this, and there will be information coming soon about how you will be able to watch it. It was very fun. It was wacky. It was goofy. It's a one shot. So we had a really good time. I had 4 players that I had never played with before, and they were all fantastic. Just really fun. All game for the goofiness that can happen when I DM. Yeah. And so there'll be a way to see another. It's an original one shot that I wrote, and I think it was pretty fun. It's not in Ein or anything like that. Sure, it's just a one-off thing. Yeah. But yeah, that'll be soon. I think the beginning of next month is when it's going to be live. But don't quote me on that. Yeah. And it's not something I can talk about specifically yet. But yeah, it'll be soon.
Awesome. And then obviously Filmcast and DLC.
Yeah, Filmcast and DLC,
yes.
and We Have Concerns are my podcasts that I do weekly.
I listen to I go to Filmcast when I because I'm way behind on movies a lot, but when I do watch a new movie, I'm always interested in your thoughts. Sometimes I just call you, and other times I'll listen to the podcast.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Sometimes my voicemail just goes right to my podcast.
That's right. It's like, how'd you do that? That's very good. But I love your and Anthony's ability to find weird science news, and you're just sort of like, what? Yeah, that's got to be a fun part of that job.
It is a great. I learned so much just doing that show. It's very fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a comedy science podcast. Heavy
That's
on
right.
comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Well, I know people are also actually very interested to get our takes on the D&D movie as well. There was a lot of interest for us. I quite enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought it was very fun, and it really managed to find that that place of being silly and funny and irreverent, and also serious and action packed and thrilling, and take the serious moments serious, and that's not easy to do in a movie. It's not easy to walk that line, and I thought they did a fantastic job. It's a rare movie that I thought the second half was better than the first half.
Right.
I really thought the ending was fantastic.
I thought the ending was so great. I saw kind of what they were setting up and how they did it was really nicely done. I loved all the little. So I was asked by some of the people, who are just movie people and not D&D people. They were sort of like, do you think there were too many Easter eggs? Do you think normal people are going to get it? And I was like, yeah, because, for instance, Regé-Jean Page's character, the Paladin, I was like, you don't need to know about paladins to get like, that guy's kind of pompous, but boy, he's handsome. Boy, he's charismatic. He's so perfect. I just hate him a little bit. I was like, now, if you're just a normal person, not a D&D weirdo like us, watching the movie, you're like, yeah, he is all those things. But if you are it, but it works both ways, because if you're a D&D person, you're like, ugh, paladins.
Such a pally. Yeah.
Oh, God. He's too perfect. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it really it had those layers, and I think it works as a big mainstream movie, and it also, was fun. It had Easter eggs, but not even Easter eggs. It's more like just sort of the depth of lore, Yeah. It was cool to see an Aarakocra right at the beginning.
Their practical effects were incredible. The Aarakocra, the Dragonborn, give you such a good, almost to help you as a D&D player, because I actually said to one of the home games I DM for, I was like, you need to see the movie because there's a brilliant Aarakocra in there, and it'll give you a great visual for a party member at our table who's playing an Aarakocra.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite comments about the movie that I so agreed with was, even though the writers were so smart, because even though they didn't show you the DM and the player telling the story, you still felt them in the story a little bit in moments that were like, what? It's like,
I agree with that.
The biggest example was the Aarakocra named Jarnathan. It was like, and there's an Aarakocra at the table, and you can almost hear the players going, what's his name?
Jarnathan.
His name's Jarnathan.
Yes.
Like, yes, that's an Aarakocra name. That's a perfectly normal Aarakocra name. I did feel like they were stealing with us a little bit in the Speak with the Dead sequence, though.
Very funny, and straight out of James's playbook. There.
I was very triggered. I was like, this is too much. Shut it down. I can't handle this. Yeah.
Hey, I just thought I want to plug one other thing that people might not be aware of. This wonderful, sometimes co-host on my video game podcast, Lana Bashinsky, who's a video game artist and just an awesome person. She and I have started a book club on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/KanadaJeff. And we have started, we are going through a 10-book series, fantasy series, written by Steven Erickson's The Malazan Books of the Fallen. The first book is called Gardens of the Moon, and we just finished, I literally just posted it earlier today, just finished our last episode about that first book. So we broke the book's up into chunks, and we did I think 4 episodes on the first novel, which is Gardens of the Moon, and it's 10 novels in all, and so we're moving on to the second novel next. But it's been so much fun reading this series, which is very notoriously dense and complicated, and many people call it their favorite fantasy series of all time.
No kidding.
And I've wanted to read it for a decade. And the coolest part, folks, not only are the novels amazing. I mean, we came away with, both of us, Lana and I both came away from the first novel completely falling in love with it.
Awesome.
So not only are the novels fantastic, but Steven Erikson himself, the author, has been commenting on each of our YouTube videos.
Oh, God.
As we're going and explaining things that we're confused about or clarifying things. It's been so awesome. So it's like this conversation with the author of this very, this titanic, epic book series. So if you're clamoring for more, fantasy content, read that book, watch the YouTube series with us as we read it along with you, and get involved. It's youtube.com/KanadaJeff.
That's amazing. I love that. I think that, and I've discovered that so much with artists and creatives, especially post-pandemic, but probably long before this as well too. Everybody likes it's been so isolating. Everything that we've done has been so isolating. We talk about it like for actors, auditions now, for instance, I no longer, 90% of my auditions, I make a self-tape in my house. My wife reads the other lines, and it's just, and there's no longer anything social about it. And so there is something about, even more so than now, I think all of us can connect with the importance of feeling seen and feeling a connection to. And especially, if you're just an artist putting stuff out there, you're like, I have no idea. Because and that's part of art too, is art isn't, I'm very much of the belief that art isn't art without an audience. I think an audience is absolutely an integral part of the artistic experience. Otherwise, it's just, I don't know, decoration you put up in your closet for no one else to see. The someone else's experience and perspective on it is absolutely part of the artistic process. So you can feel very deprived of that sometimes. And sometimes, sometimes you can overindulge in that and just, read all the YouTube comments or whatever. And that's something to avoid. But also, just feeling like it's appreciated or being seen, or people are even, even all the, for instance, for the show, I mean, even all the conspiracy theories and the conjectures and all this stuff, like, I love it because it's like, I don't know if any of that's right, but I love that you guys are putting thought into it. It is honestly one of the best feelings.
I will tell you that during our campaign run, it was the most satisfying thing to go into the Discord and see people talking about each episode. And even now, there's been, forgive me, I don't have the username in front of me, but there's been someone that's just sort of discovered our show recently and has been posting from campaign 1 spoiler section.
Dumbass Druid is her name.
She has been so, it's been so lovely to sort of walk down memory lane like that. And the fact that people care enough and are impacted by the stories that we've told is the greatest feeling in the world. So I totally understand why Mr. Erikson would be inclined to do that as well.
Yeah, it's really, it's, I feel like new people are discovering the show all the time, which is really always gratifying, and that does a lot. Feels pretty.
And hey, thank you to the old guard, our old faithful in the community, who also open their arms when new folks show up and say, hey, tell us what you're thinking. What do you think about this moment or that moment? It's such a joy to see the community alive and strong and welcoming new people in, even now.
I know I'm not the only one who, when you see someone new posting on the old Heroes of Bingle spoiler section, we get a little excited. It's like, ooh, someone else is binging it. It's like, oh, it's great. It's like, I think the other day someone was like, what was the episode where you all destroyed us all with no Nezron at the end of it? I think it was 56 or something like that.
That sounds right, yeah.
And she was like, I just started episode 56, and there were multiple of us going like, let us know when you get to the end.
That's awesome.
Because Katie cries for about 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
It is so
Yeah,
funny.
it's a delight.
I was
Yeah.
looking for, I mean, even on, I was looking for something specific about the story not that long ago, and I found myself watching the entire episode of the discussion right after Fahima's death. And talk about just investment and everything like that. It is a 3-hour
Beautiful.
episode of us just talking.
Yeah.
of talking about and how invested in this fantastical imaginary story. And it was, I found it quite riveting, honestly. I was like, this holds up, man. This is so great. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And it's a tribute to you guys. I mean, that was present right from the beginning. I remember that was the first couple of episodes. I was like, oh, this isn't, I mean, no offense to my friends, but this isn't like my usual D&D table. These are folks that are like in it.
Yeah.
And I got to up my game. Because they're invested. And, I'm so grateful for that.
It's been, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you.
I was gonna say it's been, and this is apropos because Stormborn are coming back next week. If you haven't seen the announcement, we're coming back with campaign 2, and
Very exciting.
It's so exciting, and we're adding Josephine McAdam to the cast, who is such an amazing performer. If you don't know her from LA by Night, she's an actress and RPG performer. She is our people. She is. She was ready to dive into the deep end of the pool with us immediately, and I'm very excited. I don't know what character she's playing yet, but I know she and Ron have had some discussions, and we're all so excited to get to play with her. But it's been very wonderful to identify that in each other, and kind of like when we are, because of availability or because of life or because of things, bringing in new folks. That's something we can always say. It's like, we're performers. I mean, and yes, we're enjoying the game of it, but we're also here to just, hold hands and dive into the pool together and see what happens. And that's been
wonderful.
Yeah, it's been lovely to find others who are wanting to do that as much as we are. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, Taparto says, I'm hoping for a newly formed crab person sorcerer. That's right. There was a new race of crab people formed during Katie's one-shot campaign 2, which is a really beautiful scene that Ron and Jared did. Though they had the voices of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hans and Franz.
One of my favorite NPC voice reveals ever. They just started talking, and Ron was like, ah! And I was like, oh no.
Amazing.
Yeah, that Katie one shot with Amy Vorpal and Vince and Nassim was incredible.
I gotta watch that. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, friends, this has been amazing. It's a Friday afternoon. We should let y'all get back to whatever you're doing and have an amazing weekend.
Thanks for being with us, and thanks for making this possible. The patrons of the Dungeon Run are literally the reason why I was able to come back and do a reunion. Because there's like travel expenses getting me to LA. It's not easy. And we are the beneficiaries of your goodwill.
Yes.
So thank you, patrons, for continuing to support the Dungeon Run and making that reunion 2-shot possible.
Indeed. Thank you all so much. And as we've said, we hope to do more. We'll keep Jeff's brain working overtime for as long as we can. No, we got so much good stuff on the ways, but yes. So be on the lookout for stuff for next week. Go to patreon.com/adungeonrun. By the way, this is one of the stretch goals when we were doing the stuff. JD Illustrates is almost done with the poster.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. I'm
It's
putting it
so
up,
good.
man. I can't wait. I'm gonna frame it and put it up.
Good.
I'm so excited.
JD has been working very hard on it, and it's coming together. And so I think next week we'll be able to kind of show, and then it'll be in the shop shortly afterwards. But yes, go to the merch shop as well. Right now, there's some great stuff. Ron's been putting some amazing stuff. We now have immortalized on a T-shirt Jeff's "Don't blame me, roll better." Every DM's motto: "Don't blame me, roll better." Amazing, and we're so happy for that. But yeah, thanks everybody. You the best, and we will see you soon. All right, Jeff, you want to sign us off?
Yes, indeed. Humankind. Be
Be
both.
both.